Hello everyone, Ziausa on this side. So today hand we are starting with a topic called as blood coagulation or blood clotting. Okay, so let's get started. So here, when an injury is caused, when an injury is caused to a blood vessel, bleeding starts suddenly. Correct? Bleeding starts, which are stopped by a process called as blood clotting or blood coagulation. So whenever we are going through an injury and whenever an injury is caused to us, ultimately suddenly the bleeding will start, but still after some time the bleeding will stop, and that stop will be called as blood clotting or blood coagulation. So here are a cascade of process which are called as in which will be dealing one by means of steps. So starting with the first thing first, the first step of the blood clotting. So here at the site of injury, the blood platelets are disintegrating, which means they are broken down. Now they are disintegrating and they are releasing a phospholipid. They are releasing a phospholipid called as thromboplastin. Called as thromboplastin, or for easy purpose, we will be calling them as factor number 3. Okay, deal with. Now the injured tissue wherever the injury has taken place is also releases a lipoprotein factor called as thromboplastin. Okay, now so ultimately here these two factors are combining with the calcium ion. These two factors are combining with the calcium ion and certain protein of the blood. Calcium ion and certain protein of the blood to form an enzyme called as prothrombinase. So ultimately what has happened here, thromboplastin is combining with the calcium and they are forming a new enzyme called as thromboprothrombinase. The new enzyme is called as prothrombinase. Now dealing the second step of the blood clotting. Now what we have? We have the prothrombinase. So this is a cascade of reaction, which means the product of one reaction will be the reactant of the other reaction. Okay. Now so the prothrombinase is inactivating the heparin. Hopefully you do know, but still for the sake of knowledge, heparin is an anticoagulant. Heparin is an anticoagulant. So deal with the case. Now, so this has inactivated the heparin. The prothrombinase has been inactivating the heparin in presence of factor number 4 called as calcium. Okay, deal with. Now, the prothrombinase catalyzes the breakdown of prothrombin into active protein called as thrombin. Please do remember one thing, that whatever the word pro is here, it is just denoting the inactive form of the thrombin. Okay, it is a prefix pro which is responsible for the denotion of the inactive form of a protein. So the prothrombin has been disintegrated, or rather I'll be calling as the prothrombin has been activated into thrombin with the help of an enzyme called as prothrombinase. You can call it as prothrombinase. Okay, deal with. And some small peptide fragments are also formed. That's the pro word. Now the third step of the blood clotting. So what we are having now, we are having the thrombin here. So what thrombin is doing, thrombin is acting as an enzyme. Thrombin is acting as an enzyme, and first it is bringing about the depolymerization of these monomers. First this is bringing the depolymerization of these monomers. Later the thrombin is stimulating the polymerization of these monomers into long insoluble fibers called as fibrin. So now the fibrin has come. Okay, fibrin. What the thrombin is doing? Thrombin is just converting the fibrinogen into fibrin. Okay, and what is the function of the fibrin? It is a long insoluble fiber, which is long solid fibers of the fibrin are forming a dense network upon the wound. A dense network upon the wound, or rather I'll be going for, it will be forming a mesh like structure, something like this. Correct? So ultimately the blood clotting, like the bleeding, will stop to trap the blood corpuscles to form a clot. So basically this is trapping the blood corpuscles just to form a clot, or rather it is forming a mesh like structure or a network like structure. Now here the clot seals the wound and stops bleeding. the clot seals the wound and stops bleeding. Just soon after the clot has been start contracting, and so ultimately whenever we'll be observing, whenever the bleeding stops, there is a pale yellow fluid which comes out of the injured part. Yes, the pale yellow fluid comes out of the injured part, and that is called as serum. That is called as serum. Now, starting when we have started, we have called it as plasma. Correct. So basically, if this one is the plasma, then what is serum? Correct. This should be a question. What is serum? So basically, I'll be giving you that the plasma is basically it is serum. It is serum plus fibrinogen. Okay, the inactive form of the fibrin is fibrinogen. Okay, so deal with the case. So plasma is the serum plus fibrinogen, or rather in other words, I'll be writing in this case that plasma minus fibrinogen, is equal to, yes, it's equal to serum. So please deal with the case. And what is the color of the serum? Here the color of the serum is, it is a pale yellow fluid. The color of serum is, it is a pale yellow fluid, and it starts oozing out. Please do remember this case whenever we are getting injured from any place, like somehow, like let's say for example, we have been injured from the finger. So ultimately, whenever the bleeding stops, which means that the fibrin has formed the mesh. The fibrin has formed the mesh. Okay, so just after that, soon after that, a pale yellow fluid will start oozing out, and this pale yellow fluid will be called as serum. Okay, and what is serum? Serum is basically blood plasma minus fibrinogen and the blood corpuscles. Okay, deal with. So ultimately, plasma minus fibrinogen is equal to serum, or rather plasma will be equal to serum plus fibrinogen, the first factor in the blood clotting. Okay, now one of the vitamin is also very much important in the blood clotting case. So rather, we'll be going through its vitamin K. It's the vitamin K. And what is the name of the vitamin K? It's phylloquinone. Phylloquinone. Okay, hopefully you are able to go through. It's phylloquinone. The vitamin K is none other than the phylloquinone, which is found in green veggies. The phylloquinone is found in green vegetables. Please do remember this case, that the vitamin K is abundantly present in the green vegetables. Okay, I've already made a proper video on the vitamins, like the vitamin A, D, E, K, and vitamin B complex and vitamin C. What is their source? What are their deficiency diseases and all? So you can go through that as well. But still, what is the function of vitamin K is here? It is essential for the blood clotting. Vitamin K is essential for the blood clotting, as it is necessary for the synthesis of prothrombin in the liver. It is very much necessary for the synthesis of prothrombin in the liver. So please deal with this case. Okay, now, so now we are dealing with the proper diagrammatic representation of how the blood clotting is working. So here we are dealing with the extrinsic pathway, which means that an external injury has taken place. So first thing first, the first factor will be coming into action will be called as factor number 3. It is called as thromboplastin. Okay, now this factor number 3 will be going and activating the factor number 7. It will be activating the factor number 7, and with the help of calcium, which means the factor number 4, this factor number 7 will be activating the factor number 10. Okay, so deal with this. Calcium is activating the factor number 10. And what is the name of the factor number 7? The factor number 7 is called as proconvertin. Factor number 7 is called as proconvertin. Please do remember the case. Factor number 7 is called as proconvertin. Okay, deal with, or rather we call it as stable factor. Call it as stable factor. So deal with both the names. Factor number 7, if you are preparing for a competitive exam, please do remember one thing, that the factor number 7 is called as stable factor as well, or the proconvertin. Okay, go for. Now the 10th factor has came into the picture, and now with the help of factor number 5, and calcium ion, which is the factor number 4, these two are responsible for the formation of the prothrombin. Okay, these two are responsible for the formation of prothrombin, and now our prothrombin will be coming into action, and this will be responsible for the formation of the thrombin with the help of the enzyme, okay, thrombokinase. So here, like, the prothrombinase has been converted into thrombin. The prothrombin has been converted into thrombin here, and this thrombin will be responsible for the activation of factor number 5, factor number 7, factor number 8, factor number 11, factor number 13. Okay, deal with. Now, this thrombin is responsible for the conversion of the fibrinogen into active fibrin, rather, I'll be calling. This thrombin is responsible for the conversion of the fibrinogen, which is the inactive form of the fibrin. And now, like, this thrombin has been converted. So rather, I'll be writing here as thrombin. So it will be very simple for us to understand, like, the thrombin is functioning here. Okay, so with the help of the thrombin, this fibrinogen has been converted into fibrin, and now factor number 13 will be coming. Now factor number 13 will be coming here. So what is the function of the factor number 13 now? So the factor number 13 has been converted our fibrin into a stabilized cross-linked fibrin, or rather, I'll be calling it as a mesh. Okay, so all of the factors are playing an important role. And here, like, whenever we are going through the red, some of the red arrows we have gone through. So what is the function of those red arrows? So these are indicating which clotting factors need to be present in order to activate the next part of the clotting process. Okay, deal with. Now some important cases. Factor number 8 and factor number 8 here, and factor number 9. I'll be writing both of them. So factor number 8 and the factor number 9. What is the name of the factor number 8? It is anti-hemophilic factor. Okay, anti-hemophilic factor. So deal with the case. Okay, factor number 8 is anti-hemophilic factor, and factor number 9 is it is also called as anti-hemophilic factor B, but still I'll be calling it as Christmas factor. Okay, Christmas factor. So please deal with the case. Now, in case of the factor number 8 absency, there is a condition which has been developed, or rather I'll be calling it as, it is an inherited disease, hemophilia A. Okay, in case of the absence of the factor number 8, and in case of the absence of the factor number 9, there will be a condition called as hemophilia B. Okay, so please deal with the case. There are two types of the hemophilia in which the subject is not able to clot its blood properly when an injury is caused. If that inability to clot the blood has been caused by the deficiency of the factor number 8, the condition will be called as hemophilia A, or rather, like, the inability of the blood clotting is caused because of the deficiency of the factor number 9, that case will be called as hemophilia B. So please deal with these cases as well. Okay, and do remember one thing, that the hemophilia is a recessive disorder. Okay, deal with the case. Okay, now hopefully this lecture has been beneficial for you guys. Thank you very much for your so much support. Thank you.